Howdy, soldiers. I went to a Starbucks this morning and promptly spilled about a third of a container of soy milk, not only on myself, but all over the floor. So that's how my day started. Now, I don't like to be too negative on this channel, see all my rants, but sometimes there are books that I really don't like, and I don't really go out of my way to, like, say specifically which books I don't like. However, in the spirit of spilling a good third of a container of soy milk on myself and embarrassing me in public, I wanted to do a video about some books that I read that didn't live up to the hype, because as someone in the book publishing industry, book Twitter is poppin', okay? Like, it knows. It is constantly updating and just throwing all these books at me that I have to read that are so good, they're gonna be like the next big thing, and I fall prey to that, as I'm sure many of you do. So I buy or read these books expecting this like bombastic, having to blow your mind intellectual journey through space and time because of how amazing this book is, and then I read it and I'm like, well, that sucked. Or books that are so overhyped that by the time I get around to them, I'm like, nah. Not saying these books are bad, I'm just saying they're not for me. Or that maybe I was way overhyped for them and they just didn't live up to my expectations. Without further ado, let's get into a somewhat negative review video. Now also, I have to say that I don't have a lot of these books with me because I didn't like them. So I either took them back to the store or donated them. So there's just gonna be some pictures showing up on film. However, I do have the first one because it's probably the most controversial at the current moment, and it's also one of my book clubs, so, you know, I read it, and I'm just keeping it specifically for this video, and after that it is going straight back to the store. That is Sadie by Courtney Summers! Oh my god, hold your fire! I'm gonna get shit for this, and I really don't care. I did not like this book. This book was hype/pitched to me as, wow, this girl going out for vengeance against her sister's killer, and ooh, what a wild card, we don't know what she's doing, ooh, she's so mysterious. And it's told partially as a transcript of a podcast and partially in Sadie's POV, and I don't really like that format, so I think that's already a strike against it. And I will say it did have a very good depiction of small town rural America and issues surrounding poverty, but I think the main reason I didn't like this was because I didn't like the main character. I really didn't like Sadie, and I know she's supposed to be a bit of an anti-hero, just an unlikable, unreliable narrator, but I didn't care about her at all, and she was just annoying. Like, she wasn't thinking, and not in that, like, no, like, don't do that, like, oh my gosh, you should be looking at it from all these other perspectives. It was just like, you're being an idiot. Like, get your shit together, Sadie. Like, what are you doing? But Rachel, what about vengeance and, you know, storytelling and normal people that maybe don't have the best intentions? Sure, love me a good book like that, but this was just not the one for me. And I know a lot of people really like this book, but I don't know. Not for me. Nope. Going back. And of course, now particularly is the time that my neighbor decides to mow their lawn. So there might be a mowing sound in the background. I closed my window, so it's just gonna become a little greenhouse in my room. Alright, let's sweat together and get sassy. The second book falls into the part of the video where my expectations were just not met because I was overhyped for something. And I know you're gonna say to me, Rachel, you love V.E. Schwab. What are you possibly talking about? For those of you that don't know, The Near Witch was V.E. Schwab's very first book she ever published, and it didn't do very well, so it went out of print, and then later, when she sold more books and became really popular, she wanted to get it republished, so this is a reprint of her very first book, which is really, really cool. I could definitely tell this was her first novel. It just lagged a little bit. The character voice was very distant. I didn't really feel like it was very fast-paced, even though things were happening at a fairly okay pace. The magic to it was cool, like especially the ending with the Swamp Witch, but it's definitely like a first novel. So this was just overhyped for me, I think, and it did not live up to my expectations. However, I did keep it because I still do, like, I love V.E. Schwab and I want to support her, and it was an okay book, you know, it was okay to keep. Okay, now we go into the books that I do not own, so just some nice pictures are going to show up on screen now. The first one I just got rid of too, so I should have kept it long enough for this video. Alas, I returned that because it was cult classic Uprooted by Naomi Novik. Everyone is like, that's the best fantasy novel ever. If you want to get into fantasy but female authors, go for Uprooted. And it was so boring. Don't get me wrong, this was not a terrible book. Pacing was just so slow and the voice was just so dull, even though a lot of stuff was happening. I just didn't care, and I was just like slogging through this book, and I tried to like it. It's a cool concept, flip on the like princess in the tower and like the evil wizard, and you have this cool like creepy sentient forest. So if you like that kind of thing and you like really high dense fantasies, give it a shot. So the next book is a contemporary that I'm so sad didn't live up to my expectations. I was really hoping for this one, and that is Emergency Contact by Mary Choi. I am down for some introverts getting together and just working over their emotional labor while they also struggle with their feelings. That is my life 24/7. I want to read about this. But the two main characters were just all over the place. Like, it started out okay. You know, we got a girl who moves to a new university and she's an introvert, and like she meets these like outlandish friends and she's not sure how to deal with it. And then we have a boy who is, you know, down on his luck, and he has some issues with his family, and he's working in a coffee shop, and like, oh my god, it sounds perfect for a meet cute situation. But then the girl has this whole like slut-shaming thing with her mom and one of her friends, and she never grows from that. Like, the whole novel, she's just like, oh my god. And then the guy, there's a thing with like his ex-girlfriend, and she's pregnant, but she's not, but then he like doesn't grow at all, and he's just like broody and mysterious the whole time, which is fun in small doses, but like, dude, I want to know you, you know, I want to get to know your soul, and he was just not developed. Like, it felt like they just stopped halfway through the development chain and were like, eh, okay, good enough. This book took me and my expectations into a back alley, promising candy, and then shanked me. I'm very upset. The next book I got is an advanced copy, and I'm very confused about why it was the way that it was, because You Must Not Miss by Katrina Leto was unfortunately a very bad book for me. I love Katrina Leto's previous book. I thought it was really good. It has that like mystery small town magic. This was similar, where a girl discovers sort of like a Narnia / Wrinkle in Time world in like her pool house or something, and goes to this alternate reality, you know. But then it was just weird, and like the main character was not good. Another one of those like anti-hero, we're not supposed to like you, unreliable narrators, but there was never any reason for me to believe that she was good or believe that I would grow to like her. She was just kind of a bitch who like kept sabotaging herself. And this other world had so much potential, but instead it's just like boring and like weird magic that I'm like, that's what you decided to do? You had all this magic idea and you went with that one? So yeah, do not recommend. Read A Wrinkle in Time instead. And then the fantasy novel that I was so excited for, that put my hopes, dreams, and expectations into a blender, was Empress of All Seasons by Emma Kojin. There was a thing on my channel last year where I like hunted down this book, so I was so excited about it, and it's a fantasy novel where a girl goes to compete to become like princess or queen or something or other, and she's part demon or something magical, and there's an emperor, and he has rooms that have all the seasons, and we have to fight them like this cool tournament to the death thing, and I was like, I am here for this, sign me up. But the pacing was so off that everything happened so fast. We got almost no character development, and then by the end we're supposed to be super invested in people that I could not care less about. And then we got this stupid ending epilogue that was like, the war that we just read about ended years later, and everything was fine, and this person went on to do this, and this person married, and then there was another war, but we're not gonna talk about that today. The end. No! That's not how you write a book! So grumpy about this one. I wanted it to be so good, so I'll probably read other books by her, but this one was a real disappointment. And lastly was another Asian-inspired fantasy novel, The Girl King by somebody whose name I can't remember. The Girl King by Mimi Yu. It had so much potential! It had a really interesting plot between the two sisters, like one's kind of becoming evil and like being manipulated, and the other one is manipulating, and then we're, you know, gonna be having political fights, and magic is happening, and some interesting quirks to some side characters that I was interested in. But I ended up DNFing this one just because it didn't do it for me. Everybody seemed awful, you know, and I wasn't like rooting for anybody, which if you are a princess, you need somebody to root for you because you're gonna be on that throne. Do you want to get assassinated right away? I don't think so. I've just read other fantasy novels where we have the princess protege training and fighting, and I like those so much better. So there you have it. There are a bunch of books that did not live up to my expectations, but then again, maybe these do meet yours, because there's plenty of books that people seem to really dislike that I'm like, that was great. I don't know what you're talking about. You're weird. Maybe one of these is like your favorite book and I just like shit on it. I I'm sorry, but you know, that's what makes the world go round. Different opinions for different people. Wow, what a concept. Please leave down below any books that you thought were a train wreck of expectations. Okay, positively, leave a book down below that you expected to be bad that you really loved. Fun. I did do a video on like books I didn't expect to like, and I do eventually want to do another video about like second chance books that like I gave another shot and really enjoyed, because there are many of those. Maybe in upcoming years I'll read one of these again and then look back on this and be like, what was I thinking? You know where to click to like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!